Part 1. My name is Evelyn May Carter. I'm 70, and last Thursday I unlocked my bedroom to find two strangers rolling white paint over my coral walls. My curtains lay bald on the floor. My cedar dresser, refinished by my own hands, sat in the center like a workbench with 3 open gallons sweating onto the wood. In the doorway leaned my son, Trent, grinning like he was closing on a condo. His wife, Brianna, scrolled her phone and waved the rollers forward as if she signed their checks. "Surprise, Mom. We're getting things ready before we move in," Trent said. I didn't argue. I pulled my phone, hit record, panned the room, zoomed on faces, name patches, the van logo through the window. "Names?" I asked. "Rick," said the foreman, tapping the estimate taped to a bucket. "We're paid to cover this room and the hall. The lady said go fast." "Which lady?" He pointed at Brianna. "Receipt," I said. He handed me a crumpled carbon. "Cash. No permit number." I photographed it front and back, then stepped into the hall and called City Code Enforcement. "Possible unpermitted work at my address," I said, camera still rolling. Brianna didn't look up. "Evelyn, this color is ancient. We'll split the house. You take the small room. The master's better for us and the kids." "Who decided that?" "Family meeting," Trent said, meaning the meeting of 2. Code enforcement arrived in under 20 minutes. A tired man with a clipboard asked for a permit. None existed. He wrote a stop work order, peeled the backing, and slapped a bright orange notice sign on my door. Rick apologized, capped the cans, and hustled out with his crew. Trent hissed. I'd embarrassed him. I stepped around the wet skids, opened my closet safe, set my deed on the kitchen table, and said, "Read the name." They left. I replaced the front deadbolt before dark, added a latch to the side gate, mounted a doorbell camera under the eave. Cash from the freezer tin went to a safe deposit box. I walked every room with my phone and took time-stamped photos, floors, shelves, outlets, serial numbers. At 7:10 the next morning, pounding. 2 officers. The senior read from a form. "Welfare check and property complaint. Parties allege you're holding items." Behind them stood Trent and Brianna, faces arranged for concern. I opened wide so the lens could see. "Officers, you can come in. These 2 have no tenancy, no lease. Yesterday they brought workers without permission." I slid across my deed, ID, the stop work photo. "Anything of theirs leaves under your supervision. Then they go." Trent flashed a paper of his own. "We bought furniture with our money. She invited us to move in and forgot." The senior glanced at the orange. "Notice," exhaled. "Civil standby only." Under his eye, they carried out 3 suitcases and a flat box labeled King Headboard, still sealed. When Trent tried to grab my cedar dresser, I tapped the handwritten tag still stapled to the back with my name and yard sale date. The officer shook his head. The dresser stayed. They fumed and left. I drove straight to my bank. The teller printed 6 months of activity. 2 ATM withdrawals weren't mine. A pending purchase at a home store matched the paint brand I'd just watched drip on my dresser. We killed the card, issued a new one, and put a note on the profile. No cashier's checks without in-person ID. From there, I went to the recorder's office, set deed alerts on my parcel, and printed the ownership page. 3 copies. At lunch, I met attorney Harper Nash in a strip mall office smelling of coffee and toner. I laid out photos, the code notice, bank printouts, worker names. Harper slid a yellow pad to me. 3 moves, she said. 1. Cease and desist. Stay off the property. 2. Petition for a harassment protective order. 3. Affidavit with bank statements and code attached. If they push, we escalate. I nodded. That afternoon, I bought a locking mailbox, a UV dye pack, and a motion light for the side yard. I wrote and signed a one-page statement that I had not invited anyone to reside at my address. One copy on my fridge, one in Harper's file. Saturday, Brianna arrived with a pastor's wife I'd never seen. "Evelyn, let us bless the home," the woman said. "No visits today," I replied, and lifted my phone. The red dot walked them back to the curb. Sunday morning, my mailbox lid was gummy. Under the UV flashlight, a palm bloomed electric. I saved a porch cam still. The wrist showed a triangle tattoo. I emailed the deputy. "Mail tamper, UV positive." He wrote back, "Known cousin. Threads, meet web." Monday 6:02 a.m., my carrier texted, "SIM swap request received." I'd already set a port-out pin. The attempt failed. I drove to the store anyway. A manager named Margot put "no port without in-person IDs" across my file in red. She printed the attempted store and terminal ID. I forwarded both to Harper. By midweek, Trent switched to Smear. On Facebook, he wrote that I was confused, that he'd moved in to help, that I'd changed locks on my grandbabies. A neighbor showed me on her porch swing. I didn't reply. Harper filed for a temporary order with screenshots stapled to my affidavit. That afternoon, the clerk stamped, "No contact, no approach, no third-party messages." Certified copies felt like steel. That evening, a runner in a neon vest slapped an envelope on my gas meter and sprinted. Inside, furniture receipts and a sticky note. "Pay us back for improvements." I bagged it, logged it, emailed utility security. They swapped my meter lock for free. Thursday, 2 different officers knocked with a thicker packet. "Search warrant for documents belonging to Trent and Brianna Carter," one read. The affidavit cited texts from Evelyn inviting them to move in. I called Harper on speaker. "We'll comply," she said, "but photograph every page first." I did. Then, under their supervision, I handed over the only items of theirs in my house: 2 kids' sweaters and a broken game controller. Brianna tried to drift inside with them. "Protective order," I said. The officer's palm stopped her mid-step. Harper arrived mid-search with carrier records, timestamps, IPs, device IDs. "Those come live with me" texts were generated by a web tool, she told the officers. Wrong user agent, wrong GeoIP, sent at 3:12 a.m. while Evelyn's handset was powered off at home. Fabricated. The junior officer's pen stalled. They took copies and left with the sweaters and controller logged. 10 minutes later, the deputy called. "We'll be talking to your son." Friday, code enforcement fined the painter and the person who hired them. Brianna's email on the invoice. Saturday, the bank reversed the home store charge. Sunday, the recorder pinged my alert test. Monday, the judge converted my order for a year. The clerk handed me certified sets. Clean, sharp. Trent tried one more dodge. A courier left a manila envelope at my neighbor's door, addressed to me. The neighbor, retired Marine, walked it back to their car and later brought me pie. "We watched this block," he said, nodding at my new motion light. "Bright is right." A social worker appeared Tuesday from an anonymous self-neglect call. She stood in my tidy kitchen, glanced at the labeled binder on the counter, the order framed by the phone, the rosemary hedge outside. She checked boxes, drank water, left me her card. Call if anyone uses our office to harass you, she said. I filed the card behind. Visits. Harper sent one last certified letter, returned $1,840 withdrawn on my card, reimbursed the city for the contractor's illegal work deposit, and cease all attempts to enter or contact me. 30 days, then civil action and possible criminal referrals for false statements and forged communications. The letter cited statutes, not feelings. On day 27, a money order arrived for the exact amount. No note. On day 30, the Facebook post vanished. On day 31, the only sound on my porch was the neighbor's wind chime. I sealed my deed and a letter at the bank naming my niece, Dana, as emergency contact and granting Harper limited legal POA. The letter states no one may move into, sell, or alter my home without a court order. Dates, signatures, notarized, copies with Harper and Dana. Paper closes doors better than speeches. Last thing that week, I walked past the coral paint shelf at the hardware store, bought a sample, brushed a square behind the dresser, and wrote the date below it. Morning light hits it like a flag. The camera blinks. The locks bite. And if Trent crosses 300 feet, the order will sing and the paperwork will walk itself to a desk with a seal. Part 2 Monday opened with a knock and a petition. A process server, polite, efficient, handed me papers. Emergency temporary guardianship. Petitioner, Trent Carter. Basis, declining cognition, unsafe living, financial confusion. I didn't gasp. I dialed. Harper, guardianship attempt. Hearing Friday? Copy. We counter with capacity, finances, and safety plan. Doctor's letter, notary video, neighbor affidavits, move. I moved. Primary care at 2:15 squeezed me in for a full mini-cog, clock draw, meds review, vitals. Pass, pass, pass. Doctor wrote, patient-oriented X4, manages ADLs, IADLs independently. No cognitive impairment, no need for guardianship. I drove straight to Notary Max, read a short statement on camera at one take. Date, name, address, list of my bills I pay, two-factor logins, emergency contacts. Stamped, sealed, saved to cloud and thumb drive labeled. Coral. Next stop, bank. Manager pulled a AS, safe account letter, stating I maintain balances, reconcile statements, and flagged my profile as talk to Evelyn only. She added a note. No phone transactions authorized without in-branch verification. Copy printed. I knocked on doors. 3 neighbors signed declarations. I mow, I walk, I talk, I drive, I wave. The retired Marine added a line about porch cam timestamps proving I sleep at night and nobody cares for me. Miss Alma from 2 houses down included my Tuesday clinic flyer. House defense. Instructor, Evelyn Carter. Harper compiled a binder. Doctor letter, notary video, neighbor statements, bank letter, code notice, protective order, phone records. We added a risk plan. Deed alert, mailbox lock, SIM pin, POA limited to attorney, emergency key with Dana. Simple beats drama. Wednesday, the recorder pinged. A quit claim. Had been prepared but not recorded. My parcel number in a draft. Title company name sat at the bottom like a bad penny. I called. I do not authorize any deed transfers. The closer, stiff voice froze the file and emailed, we will not proceed. Attempted fraud note logged. Harper forwarded that to the DA. Thursday, Trent escalated to noise. A Facebook Live outside the courthouse. Pray for my mom. She's lost. I didn't watch. I printed, date stamped, and tucked it behind harassment. Friday morning, court. A pale judge, a long docket. Trent's lawyer began with concern and confusion. Harper stood with my binder and no adjectives. Exhibit A, capacity. B, safety plan. C, fraud attempts against her. The judge flipped to the carrier report where those fake texts lived at 3:12 a.m. Who authored these? He asked. Silence on the other table. Petition. Denied. He added a warning. Any future petition must include new facts under penalty of perjury. The gavel didn't bang, but the sound landed. Out in the hall, Brianna hissed, "We were trying to help." I answered with the deputy's card and nothing else. Back home, I hardened edges. New strike plates, longer screws, hinge pins, window locks on sliders, a $12 doorstop alarm in the hallway. For nights I want loud surprises, I labeled every breaker. People waste time when they can't find switches. That evening, USPS alerted me to a hold mail request I hadn't made. I walked to the post office with ID, killed the hold, and asked the clerk to note "in person only" on my route. They added the carrier's cell to my contacts. I added cookies to my cart. Saturday, a white SUV idled at the curb. A man in a polo took photos of my house and yard. When I stepped out, he jumped. "Appraisal," he said. "Order came through with owner permission." I asked for the order. Wrong phone number, right parcel. I filmed the form, the license, the dash tablet, then called the lender on the paper and said one sentence: "Stolen identity on collateral." The voice on the other end turned cold and careful. File locked. Sunday morning, I set a trap. A decoy package on my porch, empty, taped, a UV capsule under the flap, and a sticky note addressed to no one. The camera caught a hand with a triangle tattoo lifting it at dusk. 30 minutes later, the deputy texted, "Got him. Cousin. Confessed to helping family." A charge beats a lecture. Monday, the DA sent a brief email. They'd added attempted deed fraud and false report of self-neglect to a review packet. Not promises, process. Good enough. Midweek, the pastor's wife returned alone. "I brought an apology," she said, holding pound cake. "They lied to me." I handed her a one-page church safety sheet I'd drafted. No photocopies of IDs. No mediating money or housing. No blessing visits without the elder's consent. She nodded, tucked it into her Bible, and left the cake on the stoop. Thursday, Harper pushed a civil demand. Clean, tight, boring. Reimbursement for bank reversals, locksmith, code fees, attorney time, a public retraction drafted by us, agreement to keep 300 feet away and not file third-party complaints. 30 days, then suit. The envelope went certified. I logged the USPS number and set a calendar alert. That night, lights flickered. Not power, somebody messing with the meter door. The camera caught a hand. Utility security installed a seal with a serial number and told me how to check it. I added those digits to the binder. Information is a lock, too. Friday, the library clinic filled up. Folks with folders and questions. We practiced 1-minute calls. Place a fraud alert. Set a port out PIN. Freeze my credit. I put timers on the table. People felt the rhythm. They left with a list and a pen. I cleaned up, walked home under street lamps, and slept like a rock. Saturday at dawn, I brushed a fresh stripe of coral behind the dresser where the paint had scarred. I printed a little label. Reclaimed. The square dried warm and stubborn. If Trent tries courts again, he'll meet my doctor and my notary before he reaches a microphone. If he tries doors, He'll meet screws that bite and a deputy who already knows the map to my porch. If he tries paper, he'll meet paper thicker than his. The week ended without a knock. The house breathed like a safe. I put the binder back on its shelf, clipped a pen to the cover, and checked the porch cam once before bed. The red dot blinked, steady as a metronome. Part 4. Monday started with a ping from a rental site. Welcome, Evelyn. Your home listing is live. Photos of my bedroom, before the coral square, sat on a fake profile under Slathine. Trent's family retreat. Calendar wide open, nightly rate set cheap. I screen captured every page, then called Platform Trust and Safety. Unauthorized listing. Owner on deed. I uploaded my ownership page, the protective order, and porch cam stills. The listing vanished in 8 minutes. I filed a police report number and sent a short notice to my neighbors. If strangers show up with a booking, call me, not the host. By noon, utilities rang. Confirming your gas shut off for remodel. I gave the password I'd set last month. The rep read back the caller's number, Brianna's salon line. I added, utility passwords, to the clinic handout and baked a pie for the dispatcher who flagged my account. Tuesday, a HUD counselor called. Reverse mortgage counseling appointment you requested. I hadn't requested anything. I booked the session anyway, attended by phone, and asked the counselor to note fraud attempt, third party. She emailed a letter stating I sought no loan and understood the scams aimed at seniors. Harper stapled that to Qasim, mortgage, and CC'd the lender's fraud desk with my deed alert. Wednesday was our small claims day. I brought receipts, locksmith, cameras, meter seal, filing fees. Trent arrived in a wrinkled blazer with a manila folder and a speech about family. Brianna sat 2 rows back, sunglasses, arms crossed. The judge didn't want speeches. He wanted proofs. I laid mine in order. Trent waved a handwritten ledger listing paint labor, consulting, stress. The judge frowned at stress. Judgment for me, every penny that had a receipt, plus costs, payment due in 30 days, or wage garnishment. The bailiff handed me a copy that felt heavier than paper. Outside, Brianna hissed, "You're ruining your legacy." I replied with one sentence, "My legacy is a coral wall and a locked door." Thursday, 2 men in orange vests rolled a dumpster to my curb. Demo crew, one said. Work order addressed to my parcel. Contractor license number 2 digits short. I called code. They rolled up, scanned the number, and fined the hauler on the spot. I added, "Hauler's Safar," to the binder and printed a door sign. No work authorized. Owner on site. Permit must be posted. That night, a neighbor texted a Craigslist ad. Estate sale. Everything must go. Cash only. Saturday, 7 a.m. My address. I posted a counter notice on community boards. Scam. Police notified. Saturday at dawn, a few early vultures drifted up, saw my sign, and kept rolling. The Marine set a lawn chair on his porch with coffee and a smile that said, "Not today." Friday, my bank flagged a new angle, an online request to add authorized user, Trent Carter, to my credit card. Denied automatically by the branch notes. Manager Margot called to confirm, then suggested a trusted contact. Not power of attorney, just a name they ping if fraud spikes. I listed Harper. We added a voice print Tsai to my account so the system recognizes me when I call. AI can fake voices. Banks can too. Over the weekend, I built a wall of boring. Credit freezes at all 3 bureaus plus check systems, a USPS in-person change of address lock, and a permanent "no solicitations" on the county probate clerk. No one fishing for pre-need arrangements gets my data. I photocopied the confirmations and slid them into fresh sheet protectors. Sunday night, a black SUV idled under the streetlight. A guy paced my fence talking loud about papers. The porch cam caught his badge when he flashed it at no one. Process server. Hired to toss envelopes over the gate to claim service. I stepped out with the camera and asked for his name. He shoved a packet at me. I read the caption line: defamation. They didn't like my library clinic flyers. Harper had warned me. Anti-SLAPP is a hammer. We filed it Monday, attaching their own posts and the guardianship denial. The judge set a quick hearing. If we win, they pay my fees. Tuesday, an envelope arrived from the title company Riverline. A letter apologizing for the substitution of trustee attempt and enclosing the IP log, Brianna's salon Wi-Fi again, plus the timestamp. Harper sent that with a neat bow to the DA and the state AG's consumer unit. Paper breeds paper. Midweek, the social worker returned. Not a complaint this time. Your phone scripts? She asked. Could I share them with my team? I printed a fresh stack labeled 1-minute calls. Place a fraud alert on my file. Set a permanent port-out PIN. Add in-person only to account changes. Record a voice print. No phone banking without it. Freeze check systems. No reverse mortgage applications. Add note. She left with a box. I marked agencies. In the binder. Thursday night, Trent tried soft pressure, an email titled mediation. Let's meet halfway, he wrote. We'll stop if you give us a timeline for the house. I replied from a fresh address Harper made for me. No meetings. Written terms only. We sent draft terms we'd held back. A public retraction on his Facebook for 30 days, removal of all posts about my confusion, repayment of judgment, a promise not to file guardianship again without medical evidence, and a 300-foot stay-away renewed annually. Breach equals stipulated judgment. Friday, a courier delivered a check, half my small claims amount, and a red-lined retraction full of misunderstandings, and if anyone was offended. Harper crossed out half the words and sent back a 2-sentence version. I falsely claimed my mother invited me to live in her home and required guardianship. Those statements were untrue. I retract them and will not approach her home or attempt to control her finances. Saturday at dawn, the post went live on Trent's page. Comments turned quiet. A few stayed up long enough for screen captures. Then they vanished. 30 minutes later, a money order for the other half slid through my mail slot. I used the quiet to tighten the last few bolts. A simple whole window pin in the bedroom sash. An interior camera pointed at the hallway, local storage only. A log sheet on the inside of the coat closet that says who entered, why, badge, time. Not for me, for anyone who ever claims a right. Sunday, the clinic drew a crowd that spilled into the aisles. We ran a new drill. Fraud tree. Start at deed alert. If ping, call recorder. If lien, bond it off. If loan, call lender fraud desk. If guardianship, doctor plus notary same day. If smear, screenshot plus anti-SLAPP. If utility, password. If mail, UV. We turned it into a laminated flowchart with my coral square as the logo. When the week closed, a courier dropped a final envelope. Trent's signed 2-sentence retraction, plus a copy stamped, filed Aussie. In our anti-SLAPP case, they didn't want the fees. I hole-punched it, slid it next to the small claims judgment, and wrote a tidy note. Settled on paper, not promises. The house settled too. Quiet, squared, bright. If someone tries the back door now, they'll find metal that bites and neighbors who wave with both hands. If someone tries the bank, they'll meet passwords and a voice print that isn't theirs. If someone tries the court, they'll land in the same blue ink that wrote, "Denied." The coral patch catches morning light like a seal on a letter. I keep a pen clipped to the binder's spine. Paper carried me through the noise. It will carry me the rest of the way. Part 5 Monday's mail brought a change of mailing address. Slip stamped by the county assessor. My tax bills, now sent to Riverbend P.O. Box, not mine. Beneath it, a notice removing my homeowner's exemption, because owner no longer occupies. That trick spikes taxes and starts delinquency whispers. I drove to the assessor with my ID, utility bills, and a photo of me on the porch, today's paper in hand. Clerk reinstated the exemption, flagged the parcel, in person only, and printed a form for a senior tax freeze. I qualified for on the spot. I added the clerk's card behind tax and called Harper. She sent the attempted address change to the DA. By noon, the recorder pinged. Affidavit of adverse possession. Filed by a stranger, Caleb Boone. I pulled the document. The proof of occupancy was 3 phone pics of my side yard from the alley at night. I emailed the porch cam montage of me sleeping in my own house every night that week, time-stamped. Harper filed a quiet Title C response with a declaration from the Marine next door. Evelyn brings in her trash cans at 6:12 a.m. Mondays. Judge set it for the fast track. Caleb withdrew 2 days later. Paper beats shadows. Tuesday, my hospital portal pinged. Primary care physician. Changed into a clinic across town. Not me. I called the medical records office and said a HIPAA flag. No changes without my in-person code word, Coral. We added a do not share mutts note to block third-party family requests and uploaded Harper's limited POA. The records clerk canceled the change and sent an audit log showing the request came from a device at Brianna's salon. Different battlefield, same footprints. Wednesday morning, a city truck, a ladder, and 2 men in hard hats. Gas safety inspection. Their badges were printed wrong, the logo color off. I asked for the work order number and dialed utility security. No order, the rep said. I filmed their faces in the plate as they backed away fast. Utility security called 20 minutes later. Imposter's crew. Police notified. I slid those photos behind poseurs. At lunch, Harper texted. Depot scheduled. Trent under oath. Friday, 9 a.m. Thursday, the Marine tapped my door. Shed's padlock's different, he said. He'd noticed a shiny hasp. We walked around back. Inside the shed, a duffel, a popped-up playpen, a bag of cheap clothes, squatter starter kit. I photographed everything, then called the deputy for a trespass inventory. He bagged and tagged, then walked the fence with me and installed a longer shackle lock he kept in the cruiser. They plant, we uproot, he said. I baked him cornbread. Friday, deposition. Conference room, coffee gone cold, a court reporter typing like rain. Trent's lawyer asked about family conflict. Harper objected to speeches. My turn. Who authored the "come live with me" texts? Harper slid carrier metadata across. The reporter's keys clicked louder. Trent stared at the table. Did you contact White Crown Remodeling? No, he said. Harper laid down Rick's declaration with Brianna's thread, promising cash. Click, click, click. Did you attempt to change your mother's tax mail? Silence. Then the lawyer. We'll assert the fifth. Fine by me. Fifth sits badly on family court paper. We wrapped in under 2 hours. Outside, Brianna tried a smile that felt stapled on. Trent wants peace, she said. I held up the protective order. Paper is peace, I answered. Saturday dawned with a fresh hustle. Estate clean-out crew. Arrived with a stack of contracts, signed by Evelyn, in a loopy hand that wasn't mine. They headed for the side gate with dollies. I stepped out with my deed, the order, and the camera rolling. This house is occupied by the owner. No clean-out authorized. I read the contract number to the police dispatcher and the company's fraud line in one breath. The crew chief squinted at Brianna's signature, buried where mine should be, muttered a curse, and loaded back up. I posted a laminated sign on the gate. No junk removal, no donations, no hauling, owner present. Sunday, the clinic ran a new drill. Medical locks. Code word, representatives on file, no verbal updates, download audit logs. We practiced saying, I revoke all blanket authorizations, and watched shoulders drop as people realized clinics must obey that sentence. Monday, a blue postcard from the clerk. Jury summons. For me, same week as my clinic. It smelled like petty. I logged on to the court portal and verified it was real. I filled the hardship form truthfully. Care obligations for a community class, age 70, then printed the I excuse approval. Petty doesn't work when you respect the rules more than they do. Midweek, my bank manager called. Odd wire attempt using a fax letter signed by you. We ignored it, but you may want a Schwab Bank safe phrase. I chose one. Peach tea. She added a note. No wires? Ever. We set card controls. On the app, geofence to my county, so any out-of-area swipe pings me. Thursday night, Brianna's salon page posted a vague forgiveness meme. An hour later, her cousin DM'd one of my clinic volunteers with, "Watch yourself, old ladies turning people against family." The volunteer forwarded it. Harper let the DA know. Harassment is cumulative. Prosecutors like stacks. Friday delivered a fat envelope from the assessor. Final notice of occupancy verification. Because of the earlier attempted change. I filled it out in block letters, added fresh porch cam stills, and hand-delivered it to the same clerk. She stamped it with a thunk you could feel in your ribs. Saturday morning, a teenager rang my bell with a clipboard. Petition to improve the block, he said. The petition was a pre-checked form authorizing temporary access for volunteers. Sneaky. I taught him the difference between a real petition and a blanket permission slip. He left with cookies and the right idea. Not all lessons are for Trent. Sunday, I walked the fence line and breathed. The house felt settled, like a boat at a good mooring. The shed lock was tight. The meter seal number matched my list. The coral square behind the dresser caught the sun and threw a small, warm light across the floor. I don't bargain with chaos. I prepare. If another lien appears, I'll bond it off. If they try taxes, I'll walk the page to the counter. If a fake crew rolls up, the sign, the camera, and a phone script will do the talking. If court papers come, they'll get blue ink that reads, "Denied again." Paper built this peace. Paper will hold it. And if anyone doubts who lives here, I've got a porch cam that shows a 70-year-old woman watering rosemary at 6:12 a.m., Monday sharp. Part 6. Monday, the recorder pinged at 6:41 a.m. Quitclaim deed, Evelyn M. Carter to Trent A. Carter. Recorded overnight by a strip mall notary. My coffee went cold. I grabbed my binder and drove to the county. Clerk scanned the doc, frowned at the signature. This is not your hand. We filed an affidavit of fraudulent recording and a demand to void instrument under state statute. I swore in front of the counter notary, showed 3 samples of my real signature, and handed over the porch cam timeline. I never left the house that night. The clerk called the fraud unit. A detective picked up the deed like it was leaking. Harper met me at the recorder with a motion for ex parte expungement. Judge on duty signed it before lunch. The deed went dark. Title back clean. We weren't done. We followed the address on the notary stamp to a shipping store. I asked for their journal. The manager stalled until the detective flashed a badge. The journal showed a scribble of my name and a thumbprint that looked like a smudge. Brianna's cousin's triangle tattoo stared from the store's camera still. Paper became handcuffs. Tuesday, the phone rang with my own voice. Evelyn, it's me. Go ahead and read the bank code. A deepfake. I hung up, called my bank, and locked. Voice banking disabled. We added a callback only Akayan. Note, if anyone ever me calls them, they must hang up and dial the number on file. Margot at the branch put me on their do not wire sign list with a red banner. I wrote a new card for the clinic. Your voice can be faked. By noon, insurance emailed, claim opened, water damage, address, yours. Someone filed a homeowner's claim for a burst pipe. Adjuster wanted access. I sent porch cam stills. No trucks, no water. I added a verbal password to the policy and a note. Entry. By appointment only. Adjusters verify at the curb with a code phrase I set. Coral Square. The claim died on hold. Wednesday, a neon green flyer slid under my door. Neighborhood Improvement District. Mandatory fee $125. Pay online. URL looked legit. I typed it into a burner laptop at the library. Cloned city page. Payment form pointed to a personal Stripe. Code enforcement enjoyed that coffee. The Marine and I walked the block pulling flyers before breakfast. At noon, Harper filed our anti-slap motion. In the hallway, Trent's lawyer whispered, "Costly mistake," and asked for a room. We sat. "Take down your flyers, stop the clinics, and we'll stop," he said. "No," I said. "We settle on paper only." Harper slid our terms. Keep away renewed 2 years. Written retraction pinned 30 days. Pay my small claims judgment plus anti-slap fees. No more filings without counsel. And stipulate that any future deed charge guardianship attempt equals a $10,000 liquidated damages judgment. Brianna's sunglasses hit a twitch. They asked for a day. Thursday at dawn, 2 women in scrubs knocked. Home health visit, ordered by your doctor. I called the clinic. They had no such order. The nurses backed off fast. I texted the social worker. She sent a memo to agencies. Do not accept third-party referrals to Evelyn. I posted a sign inside my glass door. No unscheduled entry. Verify with code phrase. Mid-morning, the DA called. Charges filed. Offering a false instrument for recording. Against Brianna's cousin. Aiding and abetting, under review. I brewed tea and labeled a tab. Deed fraud. Resolved for now. Friday, Trent blinked first. He signed a stipulated order in Superior Court. The 300-foot line, the retraction language, the liquidated damages, the fee award. The judge inked it blue. We recorded the order so it shows up in title searches. paper that bites. Saturday, the retaliation tried to slither online. A review of my clinic on a local board claiming I sold people's info. Within an hour, 5 regulars posted photos of my one-page handouts and a flowchart with no sign-in sheets. Moderator nuked the smear and pinned a link to our fraud tree. I printed that page and slid it behind Community. Sunday, quiet. I walked the fence line, checked the meter seal, matched serial numbers. On the porch, the Marine raised a mug. Heard about the deed. Voided, I said. Stamped and gone. Good. Storm passed? Storm circle, I said. But the roof is tight. Monday brought a clean win. The judge granted our anti-slap. Trent owed fees by month's end. Harper mailed him the amount with interest and a cashier's check-only instruction. We set a calendar reminder. Paper remembers even if people forget. Tuesday, the recorder pinged again. This time, a good ping. Notice of settlement. Attached to our case. I walked it to the library clinic, taped it beside the flowchart, and told the room, this is what a finish line looks like. Signatures, stamps, and orders that travel. We added one last drill. Notary sense. Ask for the journal. Sign with a rub-in pressure mark only you know. Demand thumbprint. And verify commission online. A woman in the back said, my ex tried a quitclaim last year. We built her plan on the table in 10 minutes. Deed alerts, affidavit template, recorder's fraud contact. Her shoulders dropped the way mine did when the clerk thumped the stamp. Wednesday, a courier slid a short envelope through my slot. Trent's check. Fees paid. No note. Fine. The 2-sentence retraction went live again. Pinned this time. I took screenshots, printed them, hole-punched them with satisfaction. Thursday evening, I touched up the coral square. It gleamed under fresh light like a seal on a treaty. I filed the brush receipt under house maintenance and smiled at my own pettiness. Friday night, someone tested the side gate. The latch caught. The camera chirped. The sign glowed. They left. The order sits above my coat hooks like a quiet dog that only bites when told. I don't monologue. I stack pages. A forged deed fell to an affidavit. A fake nurse fell to a phone call. A deepfake fell to a banknote. A smear fell to a statute that pays me to shut it down. If another trick appears, it joins the binder. If another cousin flashes a stamp, he'll meet a detective with a journal in his hands. If another family meeting gets proposed, the only meeting will be at a clerk's counter with a date stamp. The house breathes. The locked seat. The coral square holds its line, and my name on the deed stays exactly where it belongs, under my thumb, ink pressed into paper deep enough to feel. Part 7 Monday, a white envelope with a black eagle. Internal Revenue Service, balance due, 14,230C. QR led to a slick page asking for immediate bank login. I didn't blink. I called the real IRS number, read them the letter code. No balance, the agent said. I sent the fake to their phishing inbox, then added tax, scam, to the binder with screenshots and the envelope's barcode. At 2:17 p.m., a yard sign sprouted on my curb. For sale, open house Saturday, text for lockbox code. Not mine. The QR hit a short link that funneled into a burner. I printed the page, called the deputy, and set a sting. We kept the sign. I bought a decoy lockbox, hung it empty, and angled the porch cam. Tuesday, a mobile notary knocked with a briefcase. Estate planning review, Ms. Carter, per your son. I held up the protective order. He backpedaled. I took his card, searched his commission, valid. Then I phoned the Secretary of State and filed a notary complaint for attempting a meeting without the principal's request. His email apology arrived before dinner. Wednesday morning, county clerk pinged me. Informal probate, last will of Evelyn M. Carter, submitted by petitioner Trent A. Carter. I picked it up, a stapled stack with a will dated last week, leaving the house to a family trust he controlled. Signature didn't match. Witness names were the triangle tattoo cousin and a salon client. Harper sprinted to court with a petition to strike fraudulent probate. Plus my living trust we'd drafted at the start and never needed. Until now. Judge signed. Stricken in blue within the hour and referred the packet to the DA. Probate clerk muttered, "Seen some things, but not this." Thursday, the sting ripened. Burners texted the open house number. Reply, "Self-guided showings. Send a pic of yourself. Get the code." The deputy posed as Jake, got the code, and parked at the corner. A sedan rolled up. A couple walked to my porch and tapped the box. Empty. Squad car nosed in. The listing agent arrived 10 minutes later, Brianna's cousin again, holding a clipboard with my address and a short-term rental contract. Handcuffs clicked like castanets. The deputy waved at my camera. Friday brought federal paper. Grand jury subpoena for the shipping store notary journal and the salon's Wi-Fi logs. I scanned the caption line and smiled. Paper had grown teeth. Saturday, a towing notice on my Honda. 72-hour abatement. While it sat in my driveway, the plate traced to a private tow outfit. I called city parking. They had no record. The outfit hung up when I asked for the city contract number. I posted a laminated placard on the dash. No private tow. City authorization required. Call on file. The Marine added a cone at the curb with resident, no posted abatement. In thick marker, Sunday clinic overflowed. We ran 3 red flags. Drills. 1. Government letter. That wants login. Call the agency from the number you already know. 2. Lockbox code. By text. Scam. Owners don't share codes. 3. Surprise probate. Walk to the clerk with your ID, say, "Strike for fraud," present trust. We handed out a new sheet. Will, trust, hardening. Signature marks, witness list rules, where to lodge a pour-over trust so clerks see it first. Monday's court set our liquidated damages on a hair trigger. Harper recorded the order. Title searches now show a bright banner. Protective decree. Unrelated parties prohibited from recording instruments regarding Parcel X without court leave. The recorder called it the hot plate. I bought her cookies. Tuesday, Brianna tried a fresh lane. Anonymous OSHA complaint. About my library clinic. Improper storage of chemicals. Chemicals? We keep pens. The city librarian emailed me a wink and the filed complaint, complete with a typed description of solvents. Harper forwarded it to the DA's pile. We taped the complaint to our handout wall with a note. We store ink. Wednesday, the judge calendared our Sinsum Permanent Injunction C. Hearing. Trent appeared by Zoom with a blank wall and a tie. He read a short statement written by his lawyer. Apologies, understanding boundaries, a promise to stop filings. The judge asked, "Do you understand the liquidated damages clause?" Trent said yes. The judge warned, "This order follows the deed like a shadow. Do not test it." Blue ink settled on the page. Done. Thursday, the open house sting bore fruit again. 2 more prospect numbers pinged the burner. Police traced them to a template service selling fake listings. Code and PD did a joint visit. The service went offline by dinner time. The Marine whistled low. Tiding the bay. Friday, Margot at the bank called. Final wire attempt bounced off the do not wire. The letterhead used your anti-slap caption line as authority to release funds. Clumsy. We added her printout to Finance. Attempts. Saturday, I placed a small aluminum plaque on the inside of my front door above the deadbolt. Owner of record, Evelyn M. Carter. Protective order. Recorder's fraud contact. Code enforcement. Case captions. No entry without posted permit and appointment. It's for responders, not visitors. People in vests see numbers. Numbers calm chaos. Sunday morning, I packed a box for the DA. The fake IRS letter, the lockbox sign, probate packet, towing slip, deepfake voicemail CD, a tidy story in artifacts. I included one coral paint chip, labeled Exhibit. Why? Petty? Maybe. But juries like color. Neighbors drifted over that afternoon with lemonade. We swapped scripts. What to say at the clerk window, how to ask a notary for the journal, which statute makes a lien disappear with a bond. A teenager took photos for his civics project. He asked, "How'd you keep from, yelling?" "I wrote," I said, tapping the binder. "Courts hear paper." Monday dawned with nothing on the porch. No signs, no flyers, no envelopes. The recorder pinged only once, with my own notice of injunction properly indexed. Harper texted a single word: quiet. I made coffee, watered the rosemary, and checked the shed lock. The coral square threw a warm patch across the floor at 8:11 a.m. The phone stayed still. If another trick knocks, the plaque, the order, and the binder answer first. If nothing knocks, I'll teach the clinic how to set deed alerts and walk people to the counter. Either way, the house holds. No epilogue, no violins. I found workers in my room, police at my door, and a maze of petty plays that thought age equals easy. I answered with stamps, signatures, and statutes. The binder is full, the door is shut, and my name sits on the deed like it was welded there.